Eat at the table. Deana joined in. She remained standing, leaning over her empty plate to take only the fruit directly in front of her chosen chair, being careful not to cross too far in either direction. She filled her plate with as much fruit as she could because, thinking of the words, it implied that she should remain seated and not stand up continuously, like many around her were doing. She sat down and brought the first fruit to her lips, her nose wiggling at its sweet scent, her whiskers lowering. Its warm taste melted in her mouth, its color a vibrant purple, and its shape curved like a crescent. She tried the other fruit, each one just as tasty as the last. She ate until she was full, sitting back against the large chair with a soft sigh. Other Mycorians also relinquished to the softness of the chairs. Many here had only eaten mushrooms day in and day out. To have such fruit was a luxury they had never experienced. She watched, listening to the soft conversation of happy voices, her eyes slowly closing, until she heard a scream. Jumping, she looked about only to hear more screams. Before she could immediately react by standing up, something locked around both her arms and pulled her back against the chair, then locking around her legs. She cried out, seeing that the chair had somehow come alive and was restraining her. Feeling something rise between her legs, she looked down to see a gold tube with a claw. Wavering a moment, it then snapped at her torpid cup, tearing it off, before reshaping itself into a tube. It launched towards her nub and sucked. As Deana squirmed to get free, the old sensation of pleasure made her pause. It was a feeling she hadn't felt in months. A low groan escaped her lips as the sucking continued, bringing that sensitivity that made her squirm with the pleasuring sensation. Her groans turned to moans as the heightened pleasure slowly turned to utter satisfaction. She couldn't help it. She didn't want to help it. She wanted the feeling to keep going on and on, hoping it would never stop. It didn't. The sucking continued, bringing her to that climax she had thought she had lost, the walls of her womb pouring out eggs as she cried out. The chair lifted, curving and bringing her legs up in the air. Something warm and hot came to the entrance of her slit, and before she could think, it was inside her, thrusting in and out while still sucking her nub. The thrill of what it was doing to her became a blur of words inside her head, as the joy of its attentiveness to her body took a heightened impact. She screamed. Or did she? She didn't know, as she could only hear the cries and screams of other voices. So many voices. She could see nothing but the ceiling as she tilted back, her legs dangling over the chair, but loosely secured against its legs. Her 4 breasts bounced as it plunged inside her, sending currents of total gratification. She didn't know how many times she climaxed, but she found herself only lowly moaning as the chair continued its ravishing. Before she knew it, she was bouncing harder as she was carried away from the table and down to the left of the room. The jogging movement continued, swaying her into sleep. The meaning of the words finally came to her as she drifted off. The food wasn't directly in front of her. She had to reach too far over her empty plate to take the fruits. It was a trick, but she was to blame. She hadn't followed the rules. Please proceed to In Service to the Factory.